Hello, my U-Turn family. Welcome to the U-Turn Show. If you are new, this is a platform for empowering our communities through impactful conversations, real life stories, and resources for youth and women. Every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we gather here to spotlight voices that challenge limits and those that reminds us that real change begins the moment we choose to turn in a new direction, to make a U-turn. So, if you are navigating change in your life, looking for clarity, or building the next big thing, you belong here. So, share this conversation and stick with us as we begin the real talk, real growth, real U turn.
You can excuse yourself and take over. There's some noise here on the background.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. What an honor. I did not prepare to host this, but as always, it's my pleasure. Today, folks who have just joined this conversation, please share it. We're going to, spotlight Mach Riak Garang here, who is a star, someone who died goal at age 10. So I don't want to take away the shine, but to really give much and a great welcome. And I also acknowledge our co-host here, Query Joy, Luca, and Joel March, who will be supporting this conversation. But Minda, if you can take away and introduce yourself to the U10 community, let us know who you are, where you come from. I know you're famous, but maybe some of our colleagues here might not know you or our fellows. So take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Utan family. And first of all, I'm really very happy to be here. Um, you know, when I was 10, like it's going to be a little bit ambiguous because I am really not sure if I was 10, but it was just in the middle of 10 to 11. So that's the thing. We come from families where sometimes we really do not know like our ages and some things like that. So that's the issue. But I remember I was about 10 to 11 years because I left South Sudan when I was 12 in 2013. But prior to that, I was studying in a very small public school. For those of you who are in Botan, you probably know about Berea. And so that's like where I technically started my education. And I remember when I was in P3, I think one of my teachers actually forced me because according to them, I was some talkative guy, I was just talkative in class. I didn't know that was my trade, but that was what they told me. So there was a match between primary 3 and I think primary 4, and they were looking for, okay, who are going to be the participants. And because I talk a lot in class, they said, hey, you guy, you deserve to be a debater, you have to be there. I refused, but people forced me to be on stage. So that's exactly what happened. And by the end of the debate, we realized that we won against the primary 4, and we took the glory to be the winners of the class. And then from there, that's when everything started. I became the best speaker. So like in debate, they also run people who have spoken good. They award them. Those little things. You're the best speaker of the debate, so they gave me that award as well. So that's what we are going to be speaking about today. And back to my name. My name is Mach Riak Garang. I'm in the US technically, so normally they don't really use the middle name. So you just have there's no problem you calling me Mach Garang. I really appreciate. I am 23 years old. Going to 24, I think, by November 5th. Yeah, so I'll be 24 years. And I am a student here in the United States. I came in December, actually, last year, just before the current confusion around politics and things like that. So that's when I got to the US here, and I think I was very lucky to have gotten here. Prior to that, I also went to ALU, Africa Leadership University in Rwanda, under Mastercard Foundation scholars. Yeah, so some of these people here are my colleagues, and yeah, I've known them for some time. And I grew up mostly in Uganda, so I've been in Uganda for like 12 or something years. Technically, I started also, I went to another primary school called Nyumaze Primary School as well. That's where I completed my primary 7. And then later on, I went to a Alere refugee school. And then I moved to Kampala for advanced level. And then, yeah, I transitioned to university like that. So that's it's long, but debate has talked too much. So that's why I've just added a little bit about myself. Yeah. Thank you.
No, that actually reminded me about something. You say you are talkative, but also you are argumentative.
Oh,
No, kindly share this conversation with folks that are watching here. We're gonna talk about how debate shape leaders, and sometimes get your jam by I just want to relate my own, what I learned. Jam by and get your lot well. So here are talkative and argumentative. You share ideas, you debate ideas, you polish ideas, and so that is really great. So before Ben Wagler into deeper dive into the question to get prepared, also want to acknowledge our co-host Alakira has just joined us. It's a big champion of your debate society, and I'm happy to see you, Alakir. Thanks for joining. I think I just young at a suit. But yeah, thank you so much, Maria, for sharing this journey with us. You have given us a picture of how it started and now where it is going, and that is really powerful. So you said you started at 8:10 or around 8:10, based on the estimate. So what specific, moments that shape, your commitment? I know you said you discovered that you're not talkative, you're fun, and you're argumentative, at the end. What kept you consistent over time until now you founded the organization that we're gonna talk about? Maybe you talk a bit about, what shaped your vision until you decide to form this very famous organization that's shaping the future of South Sudanese leaders.
wow. Thank you so much. Very interestingly, again, the first thing was passion. I just loved being in front of people and speaking. I never went to a big school like international schools, but because of debate and public speaking, I think it changed both my spoken English, a lot, and also my ability to think critically. But overall, it was passion. It was something I was just passionate about. I don't know why, but I was just driven by passion to do it. Then the whole thing actually came to light when I was in Uganda in high school. So in my high school, I also joined the debate club, and I remember being in the team, like in the main team of the school. And you know what it means to be like in the main team of the school. You're not just famous. It's not like you're just known by people, but it's like you're enjoying the whole school because we travel a lot, we travel through many parts of Uganda, going for competitions, going for tournaments. And the most interesting thing about them was winning. Like if you keep on winning, gives you the energy to keep on doing it, So even by just representing the school itself, going for competitions and winning some, we realized that, or I realized that I needed more of those, things. Then I think for the organization, what shaped me was in 2019, just before COVID-19 hit, I participated in a national competition in Uganda, and that competition was held at the Ugandan Parliament. I remember entering the chamber of the parliament, where the speakers sit and do the arguments and all of that. And one important thing was the opportunity to speak alongside the Ugandan MPs. They had their team and student with their team, and we had a session with them, debating with them. And it was clear that the future was bright, not just for the Ugandan students, but for the rest of us who were there. So that moment gave me thinking, like looking at my background, where I came from. we fled the civil war in South Sudan in 2013, and even if I was young, I pretty much saw what happened, and the stories that we heard from people were like, it was because of disagreement, people not accepting uh, agreements and all of that. And even if in Uganda it was more of competitions and hobby, I thought about, okay, this debate thing, even if it is existing in South Sudan, the level at which it is in Uganda is missing back home. So what can I do at my level to do that? So it was just a dream, by the way. I was like, okay, if I'm done, I will go back to South Sudan and establish an organization to future to run debate things and all of that. So when I went back with some colleagues of mine who volunteered to support me, that is when the idea of the debate organization came about, to help our students back home, connect them with regionals. Normally, every year we have East African debate where almost all the schools from Kenya and Uganda, Rwanda come together for competition. So it was my biggest dream to see schools back home come for those competitions, and so they can connect and build relationships, with the rest of the students in the region. So in 2023, it became really hard. Let me tell you, in South Sudan, if you start something, just be passionate about it. But if not, like they normally say, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're not careful, your startup can end, just at the start. So I remember when we went, when we just started, I was pretty young. I think I was about 19 or 20 there. And it wasn't easy going to schools, telling them, you wanted to train free of charge, because that's what I was doing. I just wanted to train for the sake of something I love. But all I needed from schools was to give me their students and train them for like 1.5 hours or 2 hours. And then I leave, give them what I needed, right? It wasn't easy, a lot of questions. Are you not a scammer? How are you going to manage people underlook me because of my age and be like, how are you going to give to them? Some students are like my age as well, they're also like my age mates. So how are they going to understand and believe in what I'm trying to give them without undermining me or underestimating? But instead of coming with a fixed mindset, I started to be like very open-minded, and then just try to give them my best, reading, studying before I go, trying to build myself, and be authentic with what I wanted to do. So it just started with something small before it came out a big thing, because I remember the organization was illegal. It was registered with the national authorities like the Relief and Rehabilitation Commission. So we were just operating like that. But we realized that what we were doing was being laughed by the students themselves. So even if the administrators and the schools were not really into it, like they didn't see any sense in training and debating in general, but the students were giving them a different story. They needed us to come and train them, because it was not just the training that we wanted to do. It was about inspiring them, telling them stories that, debate is not just about speaking and feeling confident. It opens a lot of doors for you. You have opportunities to go for regionals. And, our sisters and brothers were excited to like, okay, we want to go to Nairobi, we want to go to Kampala to participate in East African debate. These were things they really wanted to have, so they were very interested in the trainings like that. So after the training, we started to have tournaments. So bringing schools together, we started with only 4 schools. Right now, we can host over 70 schools or 50 schools, and it's no longer a problem like that. So even with very small resources, that's how we pull it up like that. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. I am wowed. And with those that are in comment, please, put your wow in the comment section. If we were in the room doing this show in person, there will be a lot of applauses, a lot of claps. Can you imagine a youngster, just under 20 years old, leading an organization that is now has become a national, trophy that is galvanizing all young people? A typical story of built by us for us. A 19-year-old going to talk to a teacher or principal where I need your student to be a part of my debate society. And that 40-year-old cry there, look at you, Mechaka, Louis Parara. I just wonder, what are you talking about? You see, but because of determination, because of the grit, because of his ability to articulate his ideas, and the confidence that he exudes, that's why that, small idea has now become a national. And I am usually proud, and then, Miss South Sudan, do debate, Kenya, and they're winning. It's just inspiring. And for those who really don't know, thank you, John Garang, that your success in life is determined largely by your ability to speak clearly, to your ability to write, and the quality of thoughts that you have, right? And that is exactly what Mach Riak Garang is actually doing, is helping youngsters to know how to, refine your thought, how to effectively write them down, and how to communicate with vigor and confidence and clarity. And that is the leadership that he's developing. Thank you so much, man. And there's something that we're learning about Uganda. Our young folks in Uganda, very chap chap. English, in the what I bully on when we were in Kenya, our English wasn't that clear. I don't know if that is still there. But you guys are really good at English. Except now, I don't know how you feel about it in US. But I want to just take a step back to ask. So, for people who might not know your organization, can you briefly repeat the name and where they can find you? And talk a bit about, you mentioned some of the challenges and the success you are seeing right now. If you can actually elaborate, your journey, going through it, defining the mission, creating, value proposition, going to school until beyond. For someone who may have an idea right now and they don't know the step by step that they can follow to build something of that caliber. So walk us through the journey. Go into detail about some of the challenges, and now where do you see it going? And then what Gabriel has a question for you can prepare it.
Perfect. By the way, one thing, before going to African Leadership University, where most of these things are brought up very clearly, when I started, I think my problem statement was clear. Even if I didn't know that was the problem, my problem was very clear. It was that schools in South Sudan do not have opportunities to participate or get exposure in debate activities, to go to regionals and all of that. That was my problem, and it was very clear from me. And the solution that I wanted was, how do we get there? So it was to get, them trained, training them. It wasn't simple, but just to provide that solution, even if it was shaky, so that's the thing. The other important thing was that knowing the challenges. Trust me, that period between 2023 and 2024, I became pretty thin. You know what it means, Tanbanol, to be honest, because no resources, that is number one. You are training somebody, but you are also dealing with stakeholders who don't know or don't understand what you are doing, and they don't even have a reason to invest their money or pay for the students to travel to Uganda or Kenya for those things. So it was pretty hard to make them understand that. But I think out of all those challenges, passion was behind it. Just trying to show yourself vulnerable, that this is something you care about and you really need to do it, And when given the opportunity to train the students, that should speak by itself, from the student themselves in terms of like the feedback you get, So that is one thing. The other thing was the strategy was very clear. Number one was not just, and I think this might be the reason with some people who need to form things. Someone may need to form an organization or something and then just get to the market and give without trying to make people understand, why does your solution matter? Like, why does it really matter? So I think it was very unique with us. Instead of just trying to bring schools together, we want to have a tournament, we want to have competition, we want to take you to Uganda for East Africans. we needed schools to know, okay, why is it important? And that is by building the capacity of students, building students who will be capable to compete with Alliance High School in Nairobi, Aga Khan Academy, Nabasunza Girls in Uganda, St. Mary's Chitende, and all of that. And we thought we had the ability to do that because these are schools we faced in competition. So what we did was to lay down the strategy of training them and become like capable students who can go and compete regionally. So we went school by school, not just bringing them together, because we knew if we just call schools and bring these students together, probably the student will not understand really the like the basic necessities of debate. Like I said earlier, debate is not just about speaking. I mean, that's like the most basic part about it. Even if you can speak and have the confidence, that's okay. But it's usually more than that. You need to have clarity. You need to have some in-depth analysis of certain topics, because everything is going to be very controversial, and you must make somebody understand what you are saying. Even if a 5-year-old child, you must have some ability to make them understand what you mean, and that is the rubric of persuasion. So we thought the most important thing was to move school to school, going one school after the other, training the specific students in accordance to what they need, how they need that to be. So that's one strategy that I think really worked well, and I appreciate the team for that, right? It really worked very well, because by that we even build relationship with students to the extent that they could reach out to us personally and indirectly. Even after school, they can still come for consultations, like what can I do to further debate, to further build my debating skills. And I think that was really very important. So I think our approach in general was ground up. It wasn't the kind of top down approach. It was a bottom up approach. So building from the grassroots, making sure that we build the system from down upwards. And then by the time we started to have tournament, it was very simple. So the organization itself is Joint Debate Society. Let me come back to that now. Joint Debate Society. The wording came from the ability to, just from the joint, if you understand that basically it's like putting things together, like different pieces together and joining them together. So behind it is our understanding of how we want to be a national movement, to build national leaders from ground up, but bring students together, especially from our own perspective, where there's a lot of social fabric that has been lost. Communities are not together, and that goes down to young people. So we just need to join those small pieces together. So that is one meaning behind the name. So far right now, we have 3 flagship programs. So we have the mother organization, which is Joint Debate Society, but we have flagship programs. And one of our flagship programs is even more famous than the organization itself. It's called the Junub Debate Academy, where we recruit young debaters and public speakers, and then we train them personally. Like we take them from different schools and out of the tournaments. Kulugu Cake train, we give them further training and opening doors for them to participate in further competitions like East African debate. Then another thing is Oration Lead Hub that we just formed recently. We want it to be like a hub for leadership building, mostly programs that are centered around leadership mostly and public speaking, other than debate. Then we have what we call this World Schools Debate Championship South Sudan team. So apparently yearly there is a world championship. It's like World Cup for the football and FIBA, and Olympics for basketball, where different countries send their national teams for tournament. This year is going to happen in Nairobi. All the countries around the world are going to send their national teams. So we also have that flagship, and that has been our biggest dream, to have our country represented at the world level. So we have that as our flagship as well, and it's really doing well. They're preparing right now for the World Championship. So those are that's about the organization. We have Joint Debate Society, have the mother organization. We have Junub Debate Academy, where we train, and then we have the Oration Lead Hub that is concerned with leadership building programs, but the national team as well that we have. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. No, listening to the youngest CEO in our midst. So if I can get think about the reason for any idea to succeed and be a national or global level that is now taking South Sudan on a global stage to represent, our young South Sudanese at a debate and in the global region, you need to know your why. If you want to build something, you need to have clarity, about the vision. What problem are you solving? Who has solved it before? And how can you grow it from just one school to the next of the global stage? And you also need to have passion. Passion that I talk going on at the time when he was building the organization. By the way, if you are listening to this and you are not inspired, then I don't know, you're being inspired. Like right now, my minister of youth and culture, but what he's doing is something that can be done by that. I told the Ministry of Education at under secretary, but what he's doing is even beyond that. Someone in portfolio, but is doing something like, has a vision to put South Sudan on a map, a global public speaking stage. What young Benin, when you hear that conversation, please share this message. And so my dan bela benang le jarwe. If you bring debate and ayaya together to our young people, I believe that many people will choose ayaya because a lot on TikTok. So, so kindly, my next question is: many students see debate optional. Public speaking optional. Of course, at Yake motivate now that you can attract over 70 schools to participate. But what practical advantages can you share here on the youth and maybe you tell a law amongst others who are still, not thinking about being part of your academy? So what practical advantages does it give that the traditional classroom learning or our socio-cultural learning does not provide? I know being a confidence I build, a sense of community I build, but being someone who is a debater, someone who is a critical thinker, what is the benefits that you have experienced? I know Intilo Parliament Uganda is, I believe Jangelo Parliament South Sudan is, but what other advantages can you share?
I think, first of all, the ecosystem of education is changing rapidly, and maybe people are not seeing that, but it's really changing. First, on what is being preferred and what do students really need to be successful. So traditionally, and I think this has been the conversation that is about to unfold right now. So traditionally, schools would see being in class as just the main reason they should go to school, being good at math, physics, name all those things, and preventing the students from taking part in other general extracurricular like debate or other competitions, And I think that is where the problem comes in, especially from schools, because I think it limits the holistic development of students themselves. So debate is a game changer in that. I did a simple assessment before I came to the US, especially in Juba, to realize it was like an individual kind of thing. I just needed to measure my impact, in some low-key way. So I did a very simple assessment from schools, like seeing from the student leadership, like HP, Head Boy, and Head Girl, and going down to the timekeeper, and seeing, okay, where do these students come from? Let me tell you, what I got was very incredible. Over 90% of those students were in debate club, And then when I came and sat down and said, okay, why are these students in debate club and they are the same students taking over the leadership in the class? One thing stood out, and that was these students have developed certain traits and character that their peers have not. They have the confidence, they have the ability to persuade their their fellow students on why they should deserve those positions. But cake, they have also, clarity, and there's a way they have developed differently from the rest of the students, that. And also, the most important thing about leadership, they were famous in school. They are known debaters, so they automatically outshine other people. So that's the thing. I mean, and school, I think, should be able to look that way, give their students the opportunities beyond classroom, and I think I will also relate to my own personal experience later on. So from that perspective, I think that is how schools in general should think about. Now, for the entire education system, going back to what I said earlier, that the education is changing rapidly. Right now, when you see students at the university level, and I think this is maybe where the challenge may be very true, at the university level, you are not just needed to be a good student academically. You need to be a critical thinker. You need to show how you can build relationship and connection with other students, the faculty, and all of those things. Students who participate in debate have these things. Number one, archerio. They no longer feel anxious about talking to people. They can communicate with ease, right? And they also have some sort of intellectual development, like their critical thinking is a bit unique. The way they lay down their point, the way they can initiate them and talk to other, it's quite different from other people, from the rest of the students, right? So to me, it's like an opportunity that is really looked at as an underdog, like I don't think if that is the right word, but something that people do not value too much, but it really means a lot, right? The other thing is, on my own personal experience, my parents have never paid my school fees since I started my education, right? And that is something that I will never attribute to being good in class. I will never do that. I think it had a lot to my background as a debater. Even the opportunity that I got to be a Mastercard Foundation scholar was because of the debating activities that we do. In 2024, I took about 2 schools to Kigali, Rwanda for the East African Debate Championship. And after that, I came and applied to be at the Africa Leadership University, and I got the opportunity. The same thing, even coming to the US here, is not because I was the best student in class. It was not, I was very far from the best student. Yeah, I was good academically, right? But that was not the necessary reason why I got to the US. I got to the US because of those things. So my point here is that these opportunities unlock the full potential of a student, like as a whole. So they don't just develop you like as, just a person. They develop you holistically, your confidence, your ability to engage, your networking, the way you can network, the way you approach things. Debaters approach things differently. And if you have your siblings who are debaters, even in your own house, you can see how they are different, the way they can speak, the way they can do things, it's going to be a bit different. The other important thing is looking at the opportunities that they create. Recently, most of my students at the Genome Debate Academy are getting a lot of opportunities. So there are opportunities like that can prepare students for university, those small conferences, summit, going out to Nairobi for certain things. They are the ones taking them, more than any other person. Like, they are taking those opportunities even more than their peers who are in class. Why? It's because when they apply for those opportunities, they submit their performances in class, and who will not be impressed by those things, seeing them as debaters, going to Rwanda for East African debate, and they have all these things that they have won to themselves. And I think these are some of the things that most of these people who give opportunities need to see in a student. So most of them are enjoying that. I think this year, by August, I have about 5 of them who are going for different opportunities. There is what they call Yale Young Leaders Scholar something YYAS, which will happen in Nairobi. I have 2 who are going there, and I have one of them who is going to who has gone to Africa Leadership Academy in South Africa. and many other opportunities that they are enjoying. So these are things that I attribute generally to debate. Yeah. If there's anything that I've not answered, please let me know. Yeah.
Oh wow, you have answered real well. You say yum with Java read. No wonder why some of us are sitting here on the U-turn today. Jam ke wa jarvi. And to be honest, I could not agree anymore. Like what you just said is true. Coin jam ke we progress in all aspects. They're not jam, but jam. Ki is and if you are courageous enough to actually share your thought in a way will be quite convinced, if I can bind a value there, you buy the common who and most of the scholarship opportunities or even job opportunities look for those skills. They look for leadership skills. They look for communication skills because in jam you cannot relate with people, right? You need language. You get quite mad, quite mad nationally. Shaman chen South Sudan man through debate. No, can't be made quite South Sudan man. Everyone is, is stuck the tribal corner. But when we speak together, when we challenge each other, when we debate now language, united us. We become one. We now rally behind the thought of education for a girl child is better than education for a boy child. That debate topic used to be my favorite. I was also a young debater. My English wasn't that good, but I was passionate.
Yeah, and maybe sorry. Let me add something. Let me add something that you touched very important about. Yeah, I think I did not touch that comprehensively. When you see most of the let's say young girls and boys who are now in debate, before they consistently take part in AIA, they will be asking themselves questions. Okay, fine. What would be the benefit of going there? How is it going to benefit me beyond just going to Gumba Basic or APT for AIA, right? These are like very principal questions that any other person may not ask themselves. So instead of engaging themselves in activities that may not really, so of course AIA is a good cultural thing that all of us need because at the end we need to preserve our own cultures. But that ability to weigh things, weigh different things at hand based on their benefits and all of that is something that debate has developed. And then for the girls particularly, I think a lot of people have advocated for girl child. We need girls to be empowered and all of that. The girls that participate in debate, this is very unique. I think it's one of our value proposition is the fact that we give them the ability to speak for themselves instead of us advocating for them like we need girls to be empowered, we need girls in education. They gained their skills and abilities to speak for themselves. So they know what they need. They know how to claim their rights instead of someone coming to work on their behalf. So there's no need for like a third party in between there. So these are like critical realities that I believe, I know they're subjective sometimes, but I believe they are really very important, especially with as far as debaters are concerned. Yeah, just needed to add that. Thank you.
No, thank you for adding that angle. Okay, your women empowerment it's a big deal, and sometimes it's got so, but in practice, if you are giving them voice, then that is it. That is it. No, God, we in our society don't like women who argue, or women who are talkative. They don't like them. But those are the women who can shape the future of the country. Those are the women who shape the future of their home. Those are the women that build the next generation or that educate the next generation. So thank you for that focus. And I don't know, many people will not like it that you are doing that because I think our culture would even be very happy that women just keep quiet. They look and don't know. No one is talking. you just move your nyash slowly in motion. Those are the things that are valuable. But being able to articulate your thought, being able to challenge an idea that time the jelly expired, being able to question is really important. And that's why I want my last question to you before I bring the U10 fellows to chime in. Is really now bringing back home to South Sudan. So you have shared a lot of your experiences in Uganda and how those experiences with debate actually shape you personally and even shape the vision that you are building now in South Sudan, right? I want you to speak specifically about the experiences the South Sudan Chakegi while building this. What are some of the the gaps that exist in how South Sudan approach South Sudan as maybe educators or even the policies that are supporting your work, or even the communities that you work with? Like what some of gaps that that exist there when it comes to debate and public speaking for young folks like yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. I think generally, the truth, I guess, is the fact that this is just the beginning. We have just started, and it has a lot to do. In other countries, um, let's say here in the US or in South Africa, there are clear policies that sometimes can guide those, but back home, we are developing a lot, as a country, and our pace is also very slow. So things like debate are taken, no one really need to give attention to them, which is really concerning, right? And because of that, sometimes we face challenges with people not allowing their students to take part in debate because they see like it's something useless and not really helpful. So I think the biggest gap there is, and I think it's something that we need to work on, is um, the community outreach, letting people understand the importance of debate. But also from our government, there is no support. Like from top, I don't need to mention names, but there is no significant support to these activities. So I remember like doing most of these things. Sometimes we don't just do them like that. We need authorizations, right? We need to go through some process to, because we are working with kids sometime, and these are very young people. We can not just do things like that. We need policies on the ground. We need some approval. We need the ministry to have some oversight role, we need the authority to be involved. And by that, sometimes we need to get approvals from, let's say, NSS, the National Ministry of General Education. They need to be aware that we are doing this just in case of anything. But I think the only issue is that sometimes they feel complex. They are really very complex things to do, and they can even obstruct us from doing most of this work, even if they are really very, very impactful. So I think the thing is the policy gap. That is like at the highest level, I think, and might not be very immediate, but also immediately is allowing students take part in debating activities and not just view them at a negative angle, give them the opportunities. Parents need to come in and allow the students to take part in debating activities. Schools need to give those opportunities to their students. At the end of the day, it helps both the students and schools. Maybe one thing that people may not see is in terms of visibility, in Uganda, for example, where I come from, there's a lot of investment, even from schools. They put in money actually to get visibility. Like they can sponsor those tournaments that we do, but they have the visibility there. Back home, people don't look at it like that, right? It's a different thing. And instead of just looking at it like these are platforms of competitions and it's going to be a lot of competition, all of that, let's look at it from the perspective of the development of young people in general and leadership, right? So the gap is very wide. There's a lot that I can say, but I think it's about approaching them one after the other, like one step at a time, because I understand change may not really happen overnight. Sometimes it needs resilience. It needs you to even understand the people like you are working with. If there's misunderstanding, like it is in terms of debate, like people understand debate differently, then we need to understand as people who are doing it, okay, the people who are working with are also of this extent, so we need to approach it, like differently. So that is the thing about it. I think gaps are really wide and they are long, but it's about uh, approaching them like differently.
Thank you for sharing those. And of course, change comes little by little and through commitment, through feedback loop like this. And change will definitely come. I remember a conversation we last had. One of the times they said, South Sudan, a startup can fail at the start. so so many young people feel discouraged that when they come and they're navigating regulatory, challenges or societal challenges or the realities of marketplace, or because funding until now international funding used to support initiative like this that support young people, and now people give up. But seeing someone like you who is, despite all these challenges, you are actually informing, these policies, you are informing the community, you are doing outreach, and that is the reason we are here to spotlight this, such that someone somewhere out there can hear this, maybe a policymaker, and say, oh, young people are doing their best, but because of A, B, C, D, they are not progressing. Maybe we need to do something, right? We need to collaborate more. We need to put in resources that will, enable them to achieve their personal development, their leadership development. And so thank you so much for sharing those insights. I want to open up the conversation to the fellows to add their voice before you come and conclude later on. So, Chol, imagine a big conversation facilitate. So, what are your reactions? Chakanda chalabadi or chaletu to record it, and what is your U-turn message and questions you have?
All right, all right. Thank you, Kual Philip, for the wonderful job you've done. You have taken us like really through the conversation very well. So on my side, my apologies. My background is not as you were really expected. So it's due to some other circumstances. So about today's conversation, it means more so much, hosting someone like Mach, who has been my classmate since primary. We have been together just like that, you know, getting opportunities, and we're here now. So it's something that is really inspiring. Yeah, and and also coming also from uh, having the same background almost. I think everything about us is just the same because we are all refugees, and one graduate and quite sure why refugees and no koko ke token work, and some who did not maybe utilize the opportunities very well, and I think I thought it didn't talk a thing. So when we agile, ku be chat be so ko in ko nyana ko ten ba numbers ko na reti, so that there. So I get talking about this conversation. Everyone I would advise, all of us who are debaters, because something that I've learned from debaters, they don't flex, they don't fight. They share their opinions. Opinions can share, and they think before acting. So that's something that I really learned from those who are really into debate, and I had to adopt that one also to bring it, to be part of myself. But then I also analyze and also go be like, if I go as far as maybe flexing with somebody. So something that you need to take it outside there, because I attended a high school, or maybe into university. Debating, the ability maybe to debate, applies everywhere. It has to move with you in and real life, navigating all sorts of ways. So you need to think before you reacting to something. So it's something that you have to also take from debaters. So thank you. Let me keep it short because my background is a bit disturbing, and I know that. So thank you. Thank you, Mach Riak, and it will always be like that. I really appreciate your conversation, and that is it.
Wow, 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 what a great takeaway. No, cannot be level ko unti now I was at the job the money on below debate, but to be honest, you actually said that debate I just took at the young level, right? Even in your workplace, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to articulate your points at the in the boardroom for your ideas because adopted. So debate I just took. If Naira and God be all CSC one balakar, when you use BCYA or Teya, I don't know Balangdia, yeah, non leadership there use Luca. Then you need to be a debater very strong like Luca. So Luca, take away. What is your takeaway from this? And What have you learned? What can you add? What question you have based on the message appearing now?
Thank you, Madam Akwal Philip. And by the way, I'm really inspired by Mach Riak and what he has shared and all the things that he has done since he has started when he was even still 10 years old until where he is today. And on my side, I think Mike is a right person who is doing the right thing, especially for us here in South Sudan, because here South Sudanese are going through a lot of the challenges, especially on the public speaking. And this is one of the things that many people have missed. One of the people who have missed that one, I'm the one who is even here in front of you. Among those people who have missed debate in their primary school and secondary level, because me, I did not share with anyone how did I came until I become a UTAN member here. But I know you have remember what I told you last year when I joined UTAN with Alakir. I told you guys I want to be a good public speaker, and I cannot be a good public speaker when I don't know how to debate. So I think this is one of the things that pushed me to be here, and I really appreciate much on what he is doing on the ground, mostly here in South Sudan. And one of the things that I can also add on top of this is how he has influenced many people and how he has created that organization for people to speak out and for young people to learn, not to escape and not to miss this opportunity. Many people have missed this opportunity at their primary level and secondary level because they did not found someone who was there to help them push and expose themselves. The next thing that I can also add on this, and I also make it as a request to Mike and also to people who will be sharing the ideas and try to support Mike on this issue, is to make it to go up to the grassroots level, especially to the primary level until secondary up to the university even. Because nowadays we are having a student, most of the students who are graduating from various universities in South Sudan, and they cannot manage to do presentation. They cannot manage to speak about what they know and what they have learned in the universities. And I have experienced that one. Me, myself, I have experienced it. There are those who skip presentation at our time when I was still in Avanal University. When they heard that they are going to be doing presentation tomorrow of whatever they have, they decide that the assignment that they went and prepared and they were told to come and do that presentation, they will not come on that day because they fear to come and speak in front of people. And if you keep hiding yourself, who is going to talk on your behalf after you graduate from the university? If you know yourself, you have missed debate in primary school, secondary school, and you are now in university, try to expose yourself. Let people laugh at you. Let people also think that you don't know anything, and try to expose yourself until you become who you are, who you want to be. But if you keep hiding yourself behind, you will not make it. I think Mike has inspired me a lot, and I'm going to take it very serious that I should not be a good public speaker when I'm not a good debater. I have to know how to debate very well, and then now that debate will push me to be a good public speaker. One of the things that I have also learned, people are going for public speaking school here in South Sudan, but some of them don't want to expose themselves to come and talk about what they have learned in the school of public speaking. Some of them even fear, and that is not good. Nothing will lead you to be a good public speaker when you don't know how to speak in front of 10 or even 5 people. Like, what do you have? I think there is a video that is trending online when a student was signing out from University of Baragazal last week, and he was asked to introduce himself in front of people, and he did not manage to do it. He was even asked to mention the name of the National Minister of General Education and Instruction, but he failed to. He don't know the name of that of the minister, and the way he was even speaking does not prove that he can even speak about himself, leave alone to know the Minister of National Minister of in Education and Instruction. You know, this is very bad. And what brought such a thing? It is because people don't want to expose themselves. Me now, I don't mind whether I speak very well. I don't speak very well, but so long I am exposing myself, one day, one time, I may become a better person, not to be in the same level. So what I learned here, I take debate like it is the backbone for public speaking. For those who want to be a good public speakers, they must take debate so seriously and to try also to push themselves to the world that they want to be. I really appreciate that one, and thank you, Mike, plus Engineer Quir, and also Alakir and Shoal Mike, who has already left due to the network or whatever, I don't know. This is what I can say, and thank you for that.
Wow, 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 wow. You know, I've been laughing. Sometimes you share realities with example. I can see exactly what you are saying. I'm wicked. I'm not supposed to laugh because it's actually a national challenge to have university graduates who cannot express themselves, who cannot share what they have learned. So what will they do if they go out now in the job market, or if they become good people in local government or even national government, and they cannot talk? And there you go and meet with other foreign people in the offices, and you cannot communicate with them because unfortunately. So you need to know how to present yourself. So thank you for that, and that is a big inspiration for everyone, not just for high schoolers or for primary school. Everyone needs public speaking. And I want to bring it back to Alaki to share a reflection on what Mach has shared, and also reflect from the perspective of women in our society, generally either back home or even in diaspora, what this means, building confidence and leadership through public speaking and communication. From your experience, Alakir, take it away.
Thank you, Rhoda, for facilitating this conversation. Much for taking your time. I remember reaching out and you were very excited about this conversation. I was like, wow, I'm looking forward to learning from him, and I've surely learned that you are very inspiring. You've done a lot of work. The impact, the way you express what you've done, I can clearly see the impact. I can clearly see how that is contributing to the growth for the children, for the schools, for the country. And the school holds such a power in children development, that when they are properly engaged, or they know how to approach child growth in a way, not just academic but including extracurricular activities, would change the trajectory of a life. And you are one of that example. Many are coming behind you. It's a typical story of giving back and seeing your journey as an inspiration and taking people through it, which not easy, but very rewarding, very rewarding. So to respond to a question of the public speaking, the society and the experiences. When I was in primary school in Kakuma, I joined a Scouts Girl Guide group. They do all that matching, almost military style. They do camping. They sometimes go to regionals and so forth. So we live in Kakuma refugee camp. Time comes for our group to go to Lodwar and spend some days there doing camping and whatever the scouts do. And I remember clearly asking that I need to go for this, and I was told, absolutely not. You will not go and sleep outside the household. And I understand where they're coming from, and that is from a perspective of protecting, letting young girls sleep outside the household is unheard of. Personally, I had curfews. You have to be in the house at this time, And although that is coming from a good place from parents, it's usually limiting their children's growth. And I want to, bring this out because people who are watching will raise children in the future. People who are watching and raising children as we speak, they sometimes participate in decision to allow kids to go outside the household and participate in extracurricular activities. And I personally believe that the goal of a parent is to prepare their children as much as possible so that when they're out there in the world, they will be okay, right? Or if the parents are no longer, the children will be okay. And when the protection is impacting that development, I don't think that's protection. It becomes control. So had young girls been given the opportunity to go out there and, not be too protected from the outside, they would learn the skills like public speaking, knowing how to network, knowing how to talk to other people. So it is still following me to this day. I have a lot of fear for public speaking. You may not see it, but every time I come here, I'm literally shaking minutes before. Just when I was finishing university, we had a class on business and government, and we have a allocated points for class participation. I could not speak in class. I could not say anything, but there is an assignment, which is a group project. You have to write a report, do research, all that, and do a presentation. Comes the day of presentation, we go ahead, we presented, questions came from the class. I was able to answer them perfectly fine. And the teacher was shocked because he's never seen me talk before. And maybe I was making a lot of sense for somebody who was not spoken in class. And he said, "Why were you quiet the whole time in class? You could have, contributed to the conversation." And I could not answer the question, or otherwise I'll be accepting my weakness that I don't like to speak in public. So when people don't speak in public, it's not like they are not articulate or they don't know how to talk. There's real fear of public speaking, and that comes from when you are very young and you are in the development phase, and the areas of your brain that actually see social interaction as a opportunity to connect has now been conditioned to see social interaction as opportunity to be punished, right? So if you speak in public, if you talk to people with authority figure, you have that fear, and that fear is reinforced through school, where almost every interaction I've had with older people in authority is reprimanding, not necessarily nurturing or positive or as an opportunity to connect. So that comes from that cultural perspective and the environment where kids are raised. So if you as a teacher or a parent only talk to children when you're correcting their behavior, you're doing a lot of damage. You need to talk to them when there is something beyond that. How do you connect? Explore what do they think about certain topics. If the child goes to school and they come back home, ask, how was your day? Not like, why did you do so bad in the test, right? So that is holistic education that Mach was talking about, making sure a child's develop in all areas of life, including talking, not just doing so well in mathematics. So yeah, I believe debate is more than just a debate. It contribute to the development of a person as a whole, and it determines their success later in life and how they relate to others in social context and other areas. So thank you so much, Mach, for taking your time out of your busy schedule and sharing your journey and sharing what you've done with the Joint Debate Society. If there's a way the U-Turn can support you, please let us know later. And if you are watching and you think this conversation is interesting, inspiring, or whatsoever, please share it. Share it with people around you. Share it with parents specifically to allow kids to be engaged beyond the classroom. Also, thank you so much to Kurijwaj, very consistent member of the U-Turn. And Luca, I'm gonna say you have grown. You may not see it yourself, but you've definitely grown from the moment we did the interview. Imagine yourself sitting in a room. There are 26 people, and you're sitting in the front and you're speaking to them. You've done this through U-Turn. You've done it on several occasions. So I would say you've really grown. You've overcome your fear of public speaking, and you've developed your skills. So I think you're well on your way. We can work on the next step soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alakir. What powerful reflection that he just shared. And yeah, later on in Yan don't Yan jam kitchak a real page. So that I'm bringing it. Now you have to stand in front of people and you have to eye contact as part of public speaking. You see a culture I'm bringing. they prevent you from being part of a scout because I think could be a girl guy because in Biala need outside. And now Mach is breaking those barriers by giving both boys and young girls opportunity to travel even outside the country to represent the country. So this is really a progress, a real U-turn happening in our midst already. So thank you for sharing those reflections. What did you add? Your turn, Randy, the engineer. You do your where your reflection, how, you must be very proud to have colleagues like Mach, your friends that are power friends who are doing great things like yourself. So take it away.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Inaya one chin because of that title, then Chirodhial watch at some point. Yeah, thank you so much to the Utan family, and more importantly to Mach Riak Garang for taking us through uh, this wonderful presentation. I really like the way he tried to put things clearly to us, and some of the uh, negativity toward debate. He tried to cultivate that thing very well. So Mach is one of my good friends, and I really like the way he present himself. I remember before coming to Kigali, he called me, and by then I was the president of the South Sudanese at the African Leadership University, and he was, trying to ask about the life in Kigali, because things related to rent, and he approached me easily, and that's the benefit of being a public speaker and overall a debater. So I'm going to give 3 benefits of debate, and then I'll conclude with my one U-turn message. So I remember my dad used to tell us that if you don't express your thought, no one will express them to you. When you come to our family, we are all extrovert except our last born. And all those, but all of us, 4 of us, and my 2 sisters were jammed, So that's the benefit of talking. And this habit, it is started, way back in 2011 when I was in Panyagor. And I would like to thank Mabur Garangeret. So this is the guy who really taught us on how to be a good public speaker. He advised me one day, and he told me that, for you to be a good speaker, you need to first get rid of fear. And how do you get rid of fear? Is by joining this evening church service. Workout iti by panajien ko jai doi la long te. So na lo koi long aten na chi yen zaman ku jama. Yeah, it'll be luck watching ranting and workout after all. So then imbe pinya batiara ter wako wala ba jam bangie wako ten. So waka nge jam actually. So until it translate to daytime. And my elder brother also told me one important technique for you not to fear the audience. So he told me, if you want to be a public speaker and a strong public speaker, you need to just look at your audience forehead. Okay, don't look at their face, just look at the forehead. The person in front will think that you are seeing the person next to him, like that, up to the last person. Of course, the last person will not say, why are you looking behind, or beyond me? So that technique will really help. So debate, it is really connected with being a good leader. I can attest to that. When you look outside there, the like of Kurmalwal, the like of Mayan Abraham Ngang, the like of Ayom Jur, Ayen Masi, Agaw Deborah, Kurpita, those guys, they were once debaters, especially in Nimule. And when you look at them now, they are all leaders, and they are leading in different capacities. So that is the benefit of positioning yourself as a debater. And after being a debater, by default, you will become a leader, because after all, you are elected, or people go for someone who will voice their voice out. So they don't just go out for any person. So I don't advise people to be introvert. No, it is good to be extrovert, honestly. So being introvert will hinder you from getting a lot of opportunities. So try that, and you will be a good leader. So also there is one thing that many Seventh-day Adventists do, and other churches they don't. And that's why you will see, like, if a child just maybe go to Seventh-day Adventist. So I'm not trying to preach denomination, and I'm just trying to give my view here. So don't understand me here. So in Adventism, children are exposed to different things. The like of class, there's lesson class, okay? In lesson class, you are forced to talk. So that's why you see many Adventists, they are outspoken. It is because of that. In Adventism also, there is there's discussion, like every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday evening. So they go there and you ask your question, and anyone in the audience there will be able to answer. And that's why you will see most of them, they know how to talk and they don't fear at some point. But when I was in ECS, we go in the morning, we come back home, we are disconnected until next Sunday. There's no way whereby you can express yourself, you talk. There's no that. Those people who know how to talk, actually, they were just maybe the secretaries, they are the one who are exposed to talking. So that's why you will see other denominations, they are not exposed to, there are no opportunities for them to talk, and that's why they end up not having that ability to talk. So being a debater is really nice, and it has positioned me in many great opportunities. Starting right away from 2017, I was taken to be part of trainers. So we were taken to a Germany, we were trained so that we come back and train people on village loan and saving association. When you go to Nyumazi, all those SACCO, loan, saving, and Sanduk and all those, I impacted many people there. And it is through public speaking and this debate, So it is very good. So I'm going to give you another experience. Even my first job at Highland Bride, so it was also through, public speaking and all those stuff. I remember vividly, we were interviewed. We were six candidates, and two guys, they have 5 years experience, okay, in teaching, and one lady was having 3 years of experience, okay, and there was a certain guy, his name is Deng. He completed senior 6, and here I am with my senior 4 certificate. So we went to the interview. They do 2 part of interview. There's, you are taken to the classroom, you try to teach the kids, and you come back and you do the oral interview and all those interview. For me, I thought I'm not going to make it, because competing against those people who have 5 years, 6 years, it is very hard. And at my surprise, I just got the offer. I impressed both the administrators and the kids, because they were looking for math teacher for primary 8. So I tried to convince both of them, So if you learn how to speak, will always position yourself to better and better opportunities. So I'm going to touch to a certain question here, and I'm going to conclude from there. So someone asks about tonality. You know, it is not your tonality that it is not shouting that make your word to be heard. Okay, so it is just the tonality. Some of these kids, they sometimes misuse tonality, and that's why you see most of them, they end up shouting, but they were not trained to shout. In my school, we were trained to put our point clearly. We were not trained to shout. We were trained to use tonality very well, and that's many students outside there, they misuse that. I remember John Garang used to use these tonalities very well. I remember one of his speech, he was just talking normally, and it came to a point where he's supposed to raise his tone and to emphasize some word. Said SPLM is going to win and be the major political party in South Sudan. So he only shouted at that particular point. So, and many students, once you are taught how to emphasize or how to use your tonality, you will now take it personally and try to emphasize every point. You end up shouting. So, but they are not trained to shout, but they are trained to emphasize some words, and they are trained to use tonality well. My final message to all of us outside there is that don't be shy. So just go outside there. If there's someone who is younger than you and he knows how to talk very well, just approach that person and just tell him that I need you to train me or give me some tips on how I can become a better debater or on how I can become a good public speaker. And by that, you will improve. So the disadvantage of being a debater, you know, we talk a lot, and I'm struggling now with time. So I guess I did not consume much of your time. So that's how we behave. Thank you.
That's right. So long as you have an opportunity into so thank you so much, George. You know, you have shared three distinct examples of why debate on public speaking is advantageous to each and every one of us. And so, especially to young women, I know men are in a lot of challenge with this because they are encouraged to express themselves, to show much, and maybe they are the ones that are shouting to emphasize every point. But yeah, we need them to be trained, to be mentored, and to be guided to reach the level of proficiency that is needed for them to lead with authenticity and with confidence and clarity. So thank you for that. And Joel Mayula, I've seen your message, your U-turn message about, identifying a gap and, the benefit of your vision to the society and add your personal passion to it. So that is really a great takeaway from Mach Riak. And of course, Akoni Joy, thank you for sharing your reflection on why public speaking is really a big deal right now, because everyone at on their phone, no one wants to talk to each other. And so really encouraging young people to be talking to each other, to be debating is actually a great achievement. So thank you much. I don't know, before I ask you your final question, any reaction to what you U-turn fellows you can share on any thought that you had forgotten, or areas where you want to, tie things in before you can actually share, your final words, and also let our audience know where to find you and where to find your organization.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, U-turn family, for all the reflections. I was writing some of them down here, and to be honest, these are very realities that we face and we need to work on. Public speaking and debate sometimes I can use like interchangeably, but they are a bit different. So debate that's where like you see a lot of people shouting, misusing their tone and all of that. But they are really punished. Like those people that shout too much and they don't use their tone, they are not typical debaters. They are not good debaters, because a good debater is this person who knows. There's something we call a style. A style is like, how do you convey your message? So if you shout too much, you are probably not going to make your message clear. No one will really pick what you are doing, right? What you are saying, and that may punish you again. So I think these are something that I put into consideration, and I will forward them to the team to see how to work on them. Then for public speaking, we just started recently to have competitions also on public speech. So public speech it has some differences with debate. This is where like you speak and then you can have a challenge maybe to address a gathering, right? So building from that level of confidence, how you can make speeches out, especially those things that we used to do in high school. We used to write a speech and how you can make it. So there's a lot of art that is in between public speech and debate. Yeah. So that's just simply what I can say before final message.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for clarifying that and for educating us to know the difference and how both lead to the outcome that we've all talked about. And I'm really excited that you clearly say that debate is about persuasion, right? You that requires you to be intentional about how you use your tone, how you use your body language, and all those to convince people and to win, the argument or the point. That's different with your confidence or public speaking, where you just sharing information or of course persuading people, but I think competition involved as well. So thank you for that. The last question, there are two. One is, what is your final U-turn message? If you were to change the world or just change South Sudan or just change our community through the debate, what would that look like? What is your U-turn message to young people, to our community, to our leaders, our community leaders as well? And to the U-turn family, what would be the main takeaway from this conversation? If someone just show up right now for Kiniping from the very beginning, what would that message be? Could be a summary of what or everything you've all said, or just a one final pitch point to share. And then you can also conclude with, where can people find you? Because majority of people, they come here, they listen to guests, and then they will be coming to our inbox. Oh, where is Mach Riak? Where is Mach Riak? So if you can share your social handles, your organization page, we'll turn in the comment, but if you can verbally share that, that would be great. And then we'll close our show today. Thank you. Take it away.
All right. Okay, thank you. I'll do this very quickly because of time factor as well. My overall message is that this world is a world of injustice. There's a lot of injustice that is happening in the world right now. And it's obvious you are going to face injustice even in your own house, in the community, or anywhere. People who will likely win are those who can express their views and know how to fight for themselves. Not physically, not like, picking guns and trying to say that you are going to be the next president of a country, no. But those ones who will stand up and tell people why they are in a better position to lead. So that is one. Number two is, this world is also very capitalistic in nature. Even if we come from social background where our communities are very important, this world is very capitalistic. We need to run businesses. We need to have our own things. Probably we may need to be CEOs. We need to go into employment. We need jobs, right? The big thing here is, how do you win over other people? And there's a U-turn right now around the world. Because of AI, by the way, these things are related. Because of the existence of AI, qualified academically, and you can be qualified by learning anything. But there are certain things that are missing out. Your presentation skills, pitching your ideas. How do you articulate your ideas? Clarity. You may be qualified academically in so many ways, but if you miss these things, it may not help you. Storytelling, these important things. So generally, debate, I think, can ignite you to that extent, improve your presentation skills. I think people like Kodjai right now, ALU is a presentation school. It's all presentation every time. I don't think you people struggle to make presentation and make pitches and make your ideas. When it's a big idea, you narrow it down to one specific clarity. So that is what I can say about how to find me. So I'm on LinkedIn at Mach Riak Garang. You can also find me on Facebook at Mach Riak Garang. Same thing to Instagram. It's like that. I don't know if I can. Maybe I will leave my email account as well, my Gmail account. Anybody needs to shoot me anything, I am happy to do that. For our organization, we are currently located in Juba, specifically around, I'm forgetting, but when you leave University of Juba, Simba, so there's an office there. But on our social media, you can just tap on the WhatsApp and then we can reach out to you. There are a lot of people who can be in a position to reach out to you. We also have our Gmail account, which is attached to the email, both on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and also on Facebook. So we can be reached at those platforms. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So go and hit follow, join Debate Society, and be part of that community. And what a powerful conclusion. I think that you can AI yourself, grades-wise, but you cannot AI yourself by, presentation, like self-presentation. You have to present yourself in your not through AI. So that is powerful. That is the reason why we should take debate seriously, to fight for justice, to fight for opportunity. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and honor to host you on the U-Turn show. We are inspired, we are encouraged to see you, inspiring the next generation, and we are all behind you as U-Turn family. We see your work, we appreciate it, we are encouraged by it. So keep on doing what you are doing, keep on changing even what is happening in the US. Be part of the voice there in your own capacity. Be continue to be a champion for justice and for equality and for opportunities for all. So be blessed and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Kudejoy. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, Alakir, and everyone that has been with us. Kindly share the video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I appreciate it.
As we come to the end of this conversation, I just want to take a moment to remind you that the growth doesn't happen without taking a new direction. So if there is a message that has given you some clarity, some courage, or even a little bit of push towards the positive direction, I want you to take that with you, sit with it, go offline with it, and encourage you to continue to invest in your personal growth and say thank you for taking the time to be here for yourself and for the community, for the growth of the community. The U-Turn is not just a show. It's a community where real talk, real growth, and real U-Turn happens. So until next time, stay empowered, stay intentional, and never be afraid to make a U-Turn. Thanks. Bye.